afternoon and welcome to Biztech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by Rajhi Bank, Malaysia. Now today, Jeffrey Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific, or at Oanda, is our guest. Thanks for coming in, Jeff.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Now let's first take a look at how crypto markets are performing. Bitcoin is at 29,406.9. It's down 2.49%. Ethereum is at 1,992.42. It's down 1.74%. Now, looking across to regional stock markets, we start with the SGX, which is at 3,218.09. It's up 0.14%. In Bursa Malaysia, it's at 1,541.37. It's down 0.08. Shanghai is at 3,108.52. It's down 1.26%. ASX 200 is at 7,396. It's down 0.04%. Japan, the Nikkei is at 26,788. It's down 0.79%. The Hang Seng is at 20,150. It's down 1.56%. Rounding up the numbers, we've got the Kospi, which is at 2,617.86. It's also down 1.12%. Jeff, it's I was getting a bit tired saying that every market is down. Tell us why.
Look, I think they had a great session overnight in New York, but the behaviour in New York has been schizophrenic on the stock market, to say the least. After market hours, Snap came out and gave a fairly negative outlook on their macro environment and their earnings outlook. That saw their stock fall by over, I think, 30% in after hours trading, dragged Meta down with it and some others. That's seen those US futures, particularly the NASDAQ, give back most of its overnight gains. NASDAQ futures are down around 1.5% today. So that would have taken the edge off Asia following US markets higher from the main session overnight. Then this morning, we've also seen JP Morgan, UBS come out and sharply downgrade China GDP growth for this year. So that's turning into a bit of a torrent of financial institutions downgrading China growth. The tinkering stimulus package they brought out last night has been forgotten. And there's also stubborn a number of cases in Beijing, and concerns are rising that there's going to be a much harsher lockdown in Beijing, aka Shanghai. I think those factors, as they have for the last few sessions, the China growth story, that's weighing on sentiment on in Asia today. As you said, China stocks are down quite sharply, and the rest of Asia is either slightly lower or flat. And I think it really is China that is making Asia nervous at the moment.
But this is against a backdrop of the US announcing, Joe Biden announcing that they're considering cutting tariffs on Chinese goods. Now, how will this impact the global economy? Because definitely that's going to impact the US consumer tremendously.
I don't think it's going to be a massive impact on the global economy, because those tariffs are actually paid by the importers to the US government when the actual goods arrive on the shores in the United States. So I think it's more of a US thing, and I think what it will do is actually take the edge off inflation. So I don't think it's going to make inflation go away by any means, but it's one of the steps that the government is clearly looking at taking to try and bring the cost of living down in the United States. And we have to remember there are midterm elections in November, and it's always about the economy.
Now, this announcement almost slipped under the radar, but there was an announcement of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework this morning. Tell us how this may impact ASEAN and its engagement with the US.
Well, I guess it's part of a package where the US is trying to engage more with ASEAN and, I guess to a certain extent or quite blatantly, contain China. Now, RCEP, which was the previous Trans-Pacific Partnership, the US pulled out of that under the Trump era. There's been no signs whatsoever from the Biden administration they want to re-engage with it. They've decided to bring out their own deal. I think the intrinsic problem with it is that it's not going to guarantee access to the US market by ASEAN countries. Now, that would need to be approved by Congress, and that is the huge banana skin, basically. So I don't think ASEAN countries have anything to lose by signing up to it, but they don't really have a lot to gain unless that happens from the US. So I think it's a pretty neutral outcome for ASEAN. And it won't really impact them. It'll be an extra bonus if it somehow produces greater access to the US market. That will be a bonus, but if it goes nowhere, they're no worse or better off.
Jeff, are there any other key points you wish to highlight from your commentary this morning?
Yeah, look, today is going to be dominated by purchasing manager indexes. So we've had a few out. We've had Australia and Japanese PMIs, services and manufacturing this morning. Mixed data there. I mean, they're both still comfortably in expansionary territory, but perhaps a bit less so than last month. This afternoon, we have pan-European PMIs, and that will be very interesting to see. Obviously, the Ukraine conflict has put some downside risk in that, but the IFO from Germany was quite good yesterday. So I'm thinking if those numbers hold fairly steady, I think most of the risk is in the services component for obvious reasons, then we could see that Euro rally extend. And tonight in the US, I think we have the FOMC minutes from the last meeting, and it'll be interesting to see what their thinking is.
Now, Jeff, as always, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us.
A pleasure.
Now, we've been speaking to Jeffrey Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific at Oanda, on Biztech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by Rajhi Bank, Malaysia. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as Rajhi Bank's social media platforms. Please subscribe and like our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.